We've all heard this word somewhere, right? Programming. But what does programming actually mean? In simple terms, programming just means using the help of a computer to find solutions to problems. But to actually understand this statement, we should first understand what a computer is. Now, a computer is just a really smart machine that can perform calculations or steps really fast, much faster than humans. So, if you tell the computer what you want it to do, if you give instructions to the computer, then it can perform them really quickly. But the problem is, how do we give these instructions to the computer? How do we communicate these steps that it should perform to it? Right? Because the computer doesn't understand any human languages. It doesn't understand English or French or Spanish. It only understands machine code or binary language. This language that the computer understands only has zeros or ones. So any instruction that the computer can understand will be some huge list, some huge string of zeros and ones only. But for humans to be able to write these instructions only in binary language using only zeros and ones is not only a tedious task, it's also really tough to keep track of what you're actually writing. So, what is the solution to this? The solution is an intermediary language. A language that humans can understand fairly easily and that can also easily be converted into machine language, the language that the computer can understand. Right? This intermediary language is known as programming language. So there are a lot of these programming languages. All of these have the same concept. Basically, a user learns the words, the syntax of this programming language and writes the list of instructions that the computer should perform in this programming language. This programming language is then converted into machine language, language that the computer can understand using an interpreter or a compiler. So all these list of instructions that the user has written down is put through some kind of a black box and is converted into machine language, language that the computer can now understand and hence perform these instructions. So in this way, a user can or a programmer can communicate what instructions it wants the computer to perform to the computer. So finally, what is programming then? Programming has 5 parts to it. The first part is the problem. Like I said, programming is just using the help of computers to solve problems, right? The first step in this is obviously recognizing and understanding the problem at hand. The second step of programming is finding out a list of steps or a list of instructions to perform that will help us reach the solution, right? So this list of instructions or list of steps is known as an algorithm. If you perform this list of steps, then you will reach a solution. This algorithm is supposed to be devised by the programmer or the instruction or the user, right? The third part of programming is coding. This part is when we write the list of steps that we've devised in a programming language. So you take the algorithm that you've constructed and you write it in a programming language, right? The fourth part is asking the computer to perform these steps, to perform whatever you've written while coding, right? And finally, the computer shows you what solution it achieved after performing these these instructions that you had given it. These 5 steps are what comprise of programming, right? The one sentence that I made, that programming is just using the help of computers to solve problems, that sentence has all these 5 steps hidden inside it. So that is what is programming, and thank you for listening.